Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Built Like This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 287. Hello, I know we're late. I know. I'm sorry. Quick life update. I am working a second job. Oh my God. Yes, I am. I decided to finally bite the bullet. Why? Why, Maxine? Why? You already work a full-time job Monday through Friday. I think I've been living in Delulu land. Yeah. I think I've been delusional for the past however many years. Meaning, though I get paid well, like I'm doing well as far as the salary that I earn, yada yada yada. But I think the lifestyle that I want for myself, I don't get paid enough for it. And the thing with me is I don't stop, right? I'm not stopping my lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean, people like, anyway, by lifestyle, I mean, I still want to travel wherever, or maybe not wherever, but I still am. If someone comes up to me, like if some of my friends or my man says, oh, let's go somewhere, it's like, okay. Knowing damn well I have no business to be in Peru right now. I have no business to be in Greece, but I want to, so I will, and I'll figure it out. And I think I've come to a point where maybe I should not stop doing that, but something has to change. Either I stop doing that and like stay in a closet, which no, I'm gonna live my life, or I work a second job, right? Or I obtain a steady stream of additional income. And that is what I've decided to do. Yes, I've decided to stop complaining or wallowing. I've decided to stop expecting money to literally fall out when I tell you I've expected money to fall out the sky, wasn't there like a story? I swear to God, money falling out of the sky. There was a story, you guys. I heard of this um a while ago. There we go. Hold on. So it happened in 2017. Police investigate money falling from the sky in downtown Indianapolis. Child, I should have been in Indianapolis at the time. Talking about several pedestrians in downtown Indianapolis had their mornings brightened Tuesday. Again, this is in 2017, when money seemingly began falling from the sky. Like literally, it happens. You just have to be at the right place at the right time. And sure, the likeliness of that happening on a consistent basis or in certain areas of the world, maybe that's not a thing. But again, I've been living in Delulu. I've been delusional. It's fun here. It's fun living in this space, in this headspace of Delulu. But ultimately, there are some goals that I want to fulfill finally. There are some lifestyle changes I would like for myself, and I can't continue living in the space of the Lulu and expecting that to happen, right? I can't get my credit score to where I need it to be if I go about life the way I am, right? If I continue to put things on Affirm, Klarna, what else? And you can only go so far when people give you money, right? Because that's a short-term fix, and it's great. I'm grateful for it, yada yada. But that doesn't help me in the long run. And I think ultimately, I do want to build a better tolerance when it comes to not work, right? Not that per se, but just when it comes to commitment to whatever I want fulfilled. I think if it feels difficult, sometimes I may find myself distant and overwhelmed, and I give up. I quit. Yet, or I think it doesn't happen. And don't get me wrong, I think for not I think there's been times when I've applied to other jobs or second part, part-time jobs, But nothing came through with it. But finally it did. And it's funny because this is the same part-time job that I applied for almost a year ago now, but I decided not to take it at that time. Yes, they offered it to me. It was gonna be mine. I just had one interview over the phone and it went really well. And at the time it was virtual. Oh, child, I probably should have taken it then. But the reason why I didn't was at the time I was working at a different school, and that school, that whole district, so no matter which campus you go to, that whole district is just stressful in and of itself. It's very difficult to have a work-life balance and to just relax, or take some time for your mental health, whatever the case is. So mentally I just could not fathom also working on because at the time, which is my current schedule now with this new job, was to work on the weekends from 9 to 5. And I just was like, you know what, it's probably best for me to decline. And that's what I did. So, but shit, maybe I could. Anyway, I gotta live in the moment. Anyway, circled back to me again, and I'm so grateful that he remembered me and said, "Hey, we have this position open. Would you do you want it?" And I said, "Yes, yes." And look, what's great now, I think the difference now is I am at a much calmer, much better environment where I can let my guard down. I don't feel stressed. I still get my work done and all that, but it's not a stressful environment. It doesn't make me feel like I'm not doing enough. I don't feel inadequate like I did before. So, and just a time management of it all, the time frame of me working there, like everything is totally different. It's so much better for me. It's so much better. I live It's super close to where I live, my full-time job. So it just works out. So having this part-time job does not pose as a stressor. I think the mental stretch, I would have to say, would be the fact that it's on the weekends. So essentially, not even essentially, I am working every day. I'm working every day a job. I'm going to a building to complete an assignment as part of my job. And sure, you can make the argument, oh, even if you didn't work this job, you work every day as a teacher, right? Whether you're grading or do something extra. I do try my best, especially with this full-time job that I have, my new working at this new school. I don't take anything home. So there's nothing that I really do outside of campus. But nonetheless, working this additional job, having two jobs now, really, I can say I'm working every single day because I am. I came back today from working my first day, and I am so pleased. I am so pleased. I feel like this is so divine. I think God works everything out for my good, for real. And the fact that just the details of the work that I'm working, the job that I have now, the part-time that I have, is so beneficial to the life that I have, and it doesn't add on to any stress. It's good. I'm so grateful. So again, I decided to finally join 80 million Americans in working a second job. Like, who the fuck am I talking about? When I tell you I was stressed about it mentally, like, oh my gosh, because it all happened so fast, but not fast in a sense. Meaning for months I've been um just letting the hiring manager know, hey, my schedule is flexible now, and yada yada yada, basically let me know. And thankfully he let me know, and didn't consider anybody else, and I got the position, so that's great. But I think what I'm saying is, on that so on a Wednesday I landed the job, and that Saturday I started. So just prior to me going in, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm really working another, oh my, this is right. Like just kind of going through these mental gymnastics, wondering if I made the right choice. And I had to remind myself, look, this is the world that I'm living in. I can't expect gas prices to go any lower, or for rent to go any lower, or for me to reach these particular financial goals so I'm no longer renting. And I can't expect all these things to happen and I'm just sitting on my ass, barely making it every month, making it but not having enough left over to make it some more. You know what I mean? So it just was it's the right choice for me and the lifestyle that I want for myself, because again, I'm not going to stop living my life. Huh? I'm not going to stop going out, and I don't even go out like that, but the point is I'm not going to suddenly say no to everything, considering that I don't even go out like that just because of X, Y, and Z. Instead, I have to ensure that I am making a steady stream of income. So, child, I am now, and praise be to God. So, look, that is just a quick life update. I'm a working woman. I'm a working woman. And again, I just want to emphasize I grew up a particular way. And I'm not saying it in a sense of being fed in a silver spoon. I'm just saying I never had to work. I know it sounds like I'm saying the same thing. What I mean is my parents did not emphasize to me get a job. It was just an emphasis of get an education, get this degree, study, make sure you have A's and B's. And barely B's at that point. So that was always my mindset. And I think they really instilled in me the love that I have for education. So I love education, don't get me wrong, but that I was only focused on that. My mind couldn't even grasp the idea of also working a job. Like what? So the times when I was in college, when I was in undergrad, I did have a work study. But even that, y'all, I can remember in so many instances, I did not want to work. Like, what are we talking? What? No matter how easy the job is at the time, I just remember I was like, look, I just want to be focused on my studies. But anyway, now that I've been an adult, but I think the point is now that I am, living on my own, X, Y, and Z, it's not like I'm sharing expenses with anyone. Is I have to move accordingly, and I don't want to be a burden to anyone. And I also want to prove to myself a couple of things. I want to prove to myself that I can create the life for myself, and I can do it. I can move my money in a way that allows for me to meet different goals that I have for myself. Like I can fulfill these goals. And that's what I need ultimately. I think that's really what it is for me. So yeah, I'm working second job. So shout out to me. Congrats. Congrats, Maxine. Congrats. And yeah, here we are. So police investigated money falling out from the sky. It happens, y'all. It happens. Okay, I'm gonna play a clip from Dr. Umar, who decided to go on a podcast and share his thoughts about why people who are emotionally damaged, why they are typically, well, he said verbatim, are always sexually promiscuous. That is his take. And I think the term, or even using the word always, makes it an invalid statement, because no one is always, or not a group of people is always one thing. But I don't know if he's meaning that verbatim or is he just saying that for dramatic effect. But that is just in and of itself inaccurate. But let's go ahead and just hear what he has to say. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Make sure you are watching this video on YouTube. That is your way of supporting this independent podcast. Make sure you are subscribed. You tell a friend to tell a friend, and leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and engage in the comments in YouTube. And follow me on Instagram. All right, let's get into it.
Emotionally damaged people are always sexually promiscuous. Let me say this again. If you are traumatized, if you are emotionally damaged, you are promiscuous. And do you want to know why?
Damn. Why is that?
Emotionally traumatized people require constant validation from others. You married to a woman who's been traumatized, abuse, abandonment, whatever. When you're not around her for too many days, she has to entertain another man because her trauma dictates constant validation. And constant validation means I must have a man in my personal space.
Umar. Okay, here's what I want to say. He's not wrong. He's not wrong necessarily. Now, again, back to what I was saying earlier. You can't use the word always for a group of people because that's just in it of itself inaccurate. He's not wrong because in general with this analysis, yes, it's typical that those who are promiscuous, sexually promiscuous, they're sexually promiscuous because of said trauma that happened in their life that created this low self-esteem that they experience or that they have. To make it personal, when you know how a lot of women, we call it the hoe phase. So when I was in my hoe phase, and this was in undergrad, and again, whenever I talk, right, there's this realization that society plays a role. The culture that we're in or that we were in at one point, always, and that is when always is necessary. It always plays a role in how we behave. So in the culture that I was in, it was encouraged to have your whole phase, to soil your wild oats. I know that's typically used for men, but that's something that is encouraged when you're in undergrad, when you're off in college, on campus, living in the dorms. At the time, I didn't live in a dorm necessarily. I lived in an apartment, the college apartments. So privilege. Talk about privilege, huh? I swear you can relate to me. You can relate. But anyway, privilege. So also keep in mind, I grew up in a rigid, I guess, cult. I don't know. I'm still kind of nervous to even say cult, but I do recognize how my upbringing could have been cultish or was cultish. Anyway, so growing up in that type of restriction, when you are finally away from that, you do want to explore life and rebel and shave your hair and all of that. That's a natural human instinct. I think sometimes we use the word trauma too much, and I'm sick of it. I think sometimes we use abuse too much, and I'm sick of it. I think when I was in my whole phase, there was just this thrill of being in a whole phase. Being honest. Hello? Is the mic on? I'm just being honest. There was this thrill of, I wonder what that dick does. I wonder, what does that dick do? Oh, I see how he dances. I wonder what that dick does. That's it. Like, that was the expectation. That was the mindset. I wonder what does that dick do? What does that do? Like, what? Especially if you were funny. I wonder how much you could make me laugh. Oh my gosh. And a lot of them made me laugh. Look, God bless. But look, I think there's just this curiosity I want that curiosity itched. I want that to be experienced. So for me, it wasn't always this case of being emotionally damaged and wanting validation. Yes, there were moments when it was that. There were moments when, oh man, I didn't hear from this other nigga, and let me talk to this other nigga. That's, of course, that makes sense. I'm not denying that part. But I think there were definitely other moments when it was this curiosity, or there's a thrill in it. There's a thrill in getting attention from him, and him. And seeing how, I want to see how he rubs me down. I want to see how he, like, there's a thrill. The fuck? And I will not be shamed for it. There was. I'm not there anymore, but a bitch remembers. A bitch remembers. So I definitely remember. But yeah, I think sometimes when we talk about promiscuity, we immediately paint it with this emotionally damaged conclusion. Oh, you just emotionally damaged. You was abused, right? It's like, yes, and right? Okay, maybe I was, and, or yes, I was, and why can't two things be true? Why can't it be, okay, yes, I was molested, or yes, I was raped, or yes, I, these things. I'm not saying I was in that like fullness of it, but the point is, you could have had those experiences and still choose to want him, and maybe her, right? You can still desire multiple people, or there's maybe something awakens in you and you realize you're not interested in something that's cookie cutter. I'm trying to rationalize it. I hope you guys could follow me. But yes, and he's coming from this like therapeutic mindset, whatever. But look, I'm tired of like this judgment, And look, I'm also from the mindset of, I don't necessarily not condone, but I want to encourage. That's what it is. I want to encourage like my niece when she gets to college to get in her whole face. No. Oh my gosh, even saying that is crazy. But I wouldn't encourage anyone necessarily to do it. Let it be your choice, whatever. But I wouldn't encourage, because I think ultimately it doesn't really bring you much. It doesn't really bring you much, because the thing is, it's short-lived. It's in the moment. It's like going on a high. You get high from whatever drug, and eventually the high goes down. It dwindles. You are back sober again, and you're looking for your next fix. Eventually that gets old. And I think when you come to realize that, oh, I probably shouldn't have done it with him, or he turned out to be an asshole, or this, you eventually realize that it wasn't worth it, or sure, it may have been fun, and it probably was worth it in that sense, but could I have lived without it? Sure. Or could I have done it in a different context? Maybe that's what it is. Like, maybe if it was under the sense of, oh, we were in a relationship that was loving, sure, maybe my mindset would be different, but I don't think I would encourage it now. Like, the students that I have, teaching at an all-girls school, I don't think I would encourage. Again, I wouldn't judge, but I wouldn't encourage. So let's see what else he has to say about this, because I do find it to be interesting. I just think sometimes we get so quick to say, oh, it's because, you were molested, right? It's like, God dang, why can't it just be, I just wanted that dick?
You ever date a woman who was crazy about you? She absolutely loved you, so you thought. It was really addiction.
Yeah.
When you finally let her go, when you finally got her to stop stalking you, She ended up with another man like that. And your ego took a hit. You said, wait a minute. I know that woman was crazy about me. Climbed in my window, came to my... You understand? She was... She was crazy about your presence in her life. And the minute you distance yourself from her life, she found a replacement without a problem. Emotionally damaged people are promiscuous because they cannot go without constant validation.
They need that validation.
They need it. Most of our promiscuous women are damaged women. They're not having sex because they love having sex.
Okay, so now he says most instead of always, which, okay, child, which one is it? But let's see what else. Just a few more seconds. You guys.
Having sex because they have learned this is the only way I can get a man's attention.
Interesting. You know, dang, maybe he is. Come to think about it. Look, I did say, two things can be true. Because it could be a sense of, well, you may be curious on what that dick could do, and you probably was looking for validation from him at the same time, which could mean that you was emotionally damaged. Let's see. So someone said, I'm just looking at the comments. I like to see just the feel of everyone's response. So someone says they have a feeling that this applies to men, to more men than women. This applies to both men and women. Someone else says, why is he so fixated on the women? It's my problem. Someone says, I heard a male porn star say this about female porn stars. He said a lot of them require constant attention and validation. Look, excuse me. I think when you want to talk about the constant validation part, I think that is a sign of emotional damage. I do. I think when you're always wanting, is that chemtrail? I'm looking up at the sky right now through my window, and I see this long trail in the sky, and I see no plane in sight. Child, they're killing us. But let's continue. So, yes, I remember, like, I think jealousy, like, I think it's natural to feel jealous. It's a human experience, it's a human emotion, but over the top jealousy where you are instantly questioning and shooting down yourself, thinking that, oh, now that he is obviously friends with so and so, that means he's not friends with you. I do think that is an example of your emotional damage self, and that's probably something that you have to work through. Child, maybe he's right. I'm trying to find some type of Is he right, Theo? I think he's right. Never mind. God damn. Let's move on. Anyways, okay, Dr. Umar, you got it. Okay, but when's the school opening? The store. When's FDMG? When is it coming? And then he talks a lot about everybody else, about emotional trauma, and it's a hard pill to swallow, which I clearly expressed that. But again, that is a time in your life. I think sometimes when it comes to that, though, it's just an example of the culture that you're in. Is the lie of the feminism movement feeling like, or feminist movement feeling like, oh, this is your way of empowerment. So that is also to blame. Look, I'm finding a way to blame everybody else. I am, because when I was in that stage, I really thought I was empowered. And it's a complete lie. I'm here to tell you all. I'm here to tell women in particular. It's a lie. You're not being empowered when you're fucking many niggas. And yes, I know I said earlier, it could be a sense of, well, you're just curious about what that dick may do. You know, that's fun and all. But it's not anymore when you feel this disconnection, when you feel misused and abused and treated like a pack of meat. So Yeah, that's what I don't encourage. I definitely don't encourage that. Child, let's move on. Okay, the brick lady. Remember the brick, that lady, this black woman who I think she's from, shoot, I don't know. She looks like somebody else. Let's just say that. She looks like the people who's fighting over there. A woman is facing felony theft by deception charges after collecting over $40,000 through a GoFundMe account over an alleged false claim. So her name is Brick Lady, but no, her real name is Rhoda Osman. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's why I said she look at the people who's fighting over there. She's Muslim, whatever it is. She's actually 33 years old. Interesting. I thought she was younger just based on her behavior. But to be just a year older than me, that's interesting. Mind you, my birthday's coming up. I'm about to be Jesus's age. Let me not say that. Was that when he got persecuted? My God, today. Let's move on. Rhoda Osman. She is accused of falsely claiming she was hit with a brick after not giving a man her number in Southwest Houston on September 3rd of last year. The incident went viral after she took to her Instagram live to share what happened. Remember that video where you see this big ass bump on her face, which was so disturbing. But again, I do want to play it because I'm just interested in watching it. But it turned out she's a liar, a big time liar, a fraud.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. A lot of hot topics to get to tonight. Head in the face with a brick. Robichaud says he attacked her.
To deserve this. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I told all these men, like, "Yo, why this man got a brick on my face?"
Okay, so she comes on Twitter sharing this victim ass story, talking about how she was hit in the face with a brick. Shout out to that other chemtrail. Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe chemtrails are being moved by planes. But these are the planes that aren't filled with like passengers. I gotta find some more information about it. So she's been called a liar because there was no evidence that supported that. Yet on Twitter, it's always a time for gender wars. How can black men continue to be ain't shit niggas in the eyes of Twitter? So this led another argument on why black women are the least protected, most disrespected. That stupid ass quote that Malcolm X decided to say, which was probably applicable back then. But every time some black woman on one of these shows online or on TV talk about the black woman experience, they use that damn depressing ass quote. Like, first of all, you will not define me as such. Okay? I am not the least protected and most disrespected. No. That may have been your experience, and I'm sorry for that, but you will not describe me as such. So she is getting charged for theft, and good. I'm glad that justice is being had. What I do want to see more of is all those women, which will probably bots at this point, because the way that Twitter goes off during these gender war topics, I really do believe it's Russia. It's Putin. It's Putin behind these tweets. They really want us Americans to divide and kill each other, kill ourselves for the stances that we take. And this is horrible narrative that we have for our own people is moved by these types of conversations. That's why I kind of get tired of these topics that we hear a lot on these podcasts. And look, I love the Joe Budden podcast. I'm a Buddenite. I'm a Israel. I'm a fan of that podcast. Don't get me wrong. But there's been a lot of gender war types of discussions. And it's just tiring. Like, can we talk about socioeconomics? Can we talk about politics? Can we talk about, and then we could, parsley up some gender war stuff. But when we get into these types of conversations, we're being dishonest, and it's instantly in a, oh, that's why Black women are better than Black men, or that's why it's just like, what? Like, there's no room for understanding. There's no room for nuance. There's no room for compassion or anything like that. It's just this instant battle. Like, why am I battling my fellow Black man? It's tired and it's weak. But anyway, so this woman, she finally get charged. And I do want to see the same women on Twitter, the same Black women on Twitter who was quick to be like, oh, that's why Black men ain't shit. That's why Black men need to leave the earth. How did that happen? How? The same ones, they're not. Stop. You need them just as much as I need them. We all need them. We all need each other. We are the world. So there's that. Okay, I want to talk about Fani Willis. Was it Fani? I think Fani. Fani Willis. Who is Fani Willis? Ciao. Fani Willis, you may be familiar with this name because she has been in the headlines for the past few weeks now due to an alleged improper relationship between a special prosecutor who's on her team, and they're prosecuting against Donald Trump. She has been, Fani has been creating this file, trying to take down Trump. And you know me, MAGA all day. I'm kidding. But the man is kind of right when he's right. Let's just be honest here, okay? Anyway, so she is a district attorney of Fulton County, and she found herself in an entanglement, basically. She recently hired this man named Nathan Wade, who is a Black man. And he is, he looks like to me, because I'm looking at this picture. Let me show this. Again, make sure you are watching the YouTube video to be right here with me. You got to be right here. Okay, you guys are looking at this. Okay, so let me describe it to my audio listeners only. He's wearing this suit, a gray suit, a tie, and a button down underneath. He is a bald man with a full beard. I don't know the differences between beard and goatees. I think it's a whole beard. Okay, but it's not like a Santa Claus beard. Okay, so anyway, the way that he's sitting in his suit, maybe it's the way that he's seated for this photo. And in this photo, you only see from the elbow up. The way that he's seated, y'all, it looks like he's not really a lawyer, or he's not really, this professional person. Instead, he's about to rip off this suit and he's about to strip. Like, it feels like he's about to get naked, right? It feels like he's about to swing that dick in my face type. Like, the way that he's looking into the camera right now, his face, I don't know if he's a real lawyer. I'm kidding. Of course he's a real lawyer, but this is the energy this photo is giving me. I've seen too many, not in person. I haven't experienced naked men in my face dancing for some dollar bills. No, but I've seen it on TV many a times. There's a lot of content of that's on, like, Real Housewives. You see a lot of that. Like, oh my gosh. But it looks like he is one of them. It really does. So I can't. I can't take this photo seriously. Anyway, he's a fairly attractive man, sure, whatever. The controversy is Fani Willis is accused of hiring him and having a romantic relationship with him. And this is all the while they're leading the prosecution against Donald Trump. So it's conflicting. It's a situation where it's inappropriate and it leads to just a conflict of interest, like how are things professionally being done? Are they being done professionally? This revelation, according to this article here, surfaced through a court filing by Michael Roman, who is a former official in the Trump campaign. He claims that Wade received a substantial payment exceeding $600,000. When you're watching, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see what I'm looking at. I hate when you're on a random website and there's so many damn weird ads. This is an ad that came up of someone brushing their toenails, like literally brushing their toenails. And it's just so disturbing. Come here. Sorry to keep showing y'all. Anyway, so let me click read more. So he is accused of receiving a payment that exceeds $600,000 for his role as a special prosecutor in this extensive investigation into Trump's efforts to overturn the election. The issue is Nathan Wade is seemingly not qualified to have this position of prosecuting against Donald J. Trump. Apparently, like he's been a judge, but a municipal court judge, which apparently there are hierarchies in the judge world, and a municipal court judge is the lowest rank of judges. Shout out to the lead attorney. He broke it down as I watched one of his videos about this. And he explained how a municipal court judge is someone who is just the lower, the bar is low. Okay. And look, no shot to him. I don't know how much they get paid, but apparently with some of these jobs, though the title sounds so fancy, the pay is like not that great. Like, wait, what? Let me make sure I'm right. How much is a municipal judge? How much municipal judge make? I'm curious. Okay, shit. I mean, well, top earner is 187,000. That's pretty great. But the point is here, the average is 85,000. And look, that's not bad technically. Like in the scale of like average jobs, but in the role, like, look, if I was getting paid 85, that's pretty cool. But I think in the position of being a judge, 85 is of the lowest bar. And look, it says here, the 25th percentile. I don't know what that, so that means 25% of judges, they get paid 44,000. You know, so it depends on where you are. It depends on I don't know, not the district, but whatever county you're in and the budget that's available, you may get as little as 44th, and that's crazy. That's 44. I make more than that. $44,400 for a judge. You know, and this judge is this like respected role, all rise. That's interesting. Anyway, so where was I? So yeah, so she's in this relationship with him allegedly. It's proven to be so because of this unaccounted for payments that he's making that are misaligned with the work that he's doing and his responsibilities. And yeah, it's a bad look. Her defense is interesting because what she's doing is she's painting this narrative of, oh, they're doing this because I'm a Black woman. Oh, I'm being targeted because I'm a Black woman. And I think it's very interesting when we rush to the Black woman card, the race card, and we're not being honest. We're just using that because it's convenient and it's always going to work. You're always going to get sympathy because, again, Black women are the most disrespected, least protected. It's like, shut the fuck up, shut up. Okay, I want to play this clip because there is a clip going around on X, aka Twitter, of Fani Willis explaining how this happened not too long ago, just in 2020. She said that she would fire any employee who sleeps with a coworker and vowed to not date, quote, anybody that works under me, which is very interesting because she is clearly, allegedly, seeing or sleeping with this man, Nathan Wade. So let's go ahead.
It is saddening to me if young women felt like they came to work and they were, one, even judged for being a woman, but two, if certainly they felt uncomfortable within the workplace. That will not be something that is allowed on my watch. Supervisors under my leadership that are not encouraging and building up my staff will not be supervisors long in my administration. And I certainly will not be choosing people to date that work under me. Let me just say that. We are at a place in society where things happen in people's relationships, husband and wife. Sometimes there are outside relationships. I don't think that that's what the community is concerned about, although there might be a moral breaking in that. I think that what citizens are really, really concerned about is if you chose to have inappropriate contact with employees. I mean, there's nothing that I can say on it other than it is distracting. It is certainly inappropriate for the number one law enforcement officer in this state. And it really, really saddens me. And it will be very unfortunate if the taxpayers of this community have to pay for any of those lawsuits.
Exactly.
So that's the irony in this, because again, it's alleged that she is sleeping with this man, Nathan Wade. Yet she said this not too long ago that she would never date anyone who is quote unquote under her. Now, maybe that's a little caveat, right? Maybe she doesn't see Nathan Wade as someone who's under her. Nonetheless, it's looking very suspicious. And it's pretty unfortunate, it's unfortunate that she can't hold it together. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to show from it. Let's see. But yeah, we can pause it right there. So that's that, child. But again, he does not look like a lawyer. He looks like he's about to strip. He looks like he's about to take it off. God. All right, so there is an election happening. Yes. Why am I forget? I literally forgot. When I got the news that Trump won the Iowa caucus, I'm like, wait, he won what? What's going on? Oh, yeah, I literally forgot. Have y'all seen Biden? Hello? Have y'all seen Biden? I haven't seen Biden. Is Kamala still here? I don't know where any of these people are. I really don't. So I was totally aghast that we're still in this presidential election. So anyway, who's in the lead? Donald J. Trump. But I do want to just kind of give a rundown of the major 2024 candidates, because I swear I'm not the only one who's thought this. I'm not the only one who thought no one that there's an election happening. What? I totally forgot. Okay, but let's talk about it. So Republican primary field, we have Donald Trump. He is in the lead. Let's see. The GOP frontrunner remains hugely popular in the Republican Party. despite making history as the first president to be impeached twice and inciting. Oh, they shouldn't have said that. Inciting the Capitol. First of all, he didn't incite anything. He just said what he said, and people decided to move how they moved. But did he say, meet me here at this time? And I don't know. Shit, did it even really happen? Let's go there. Anyway, so he refers to himself as America's, quote, most pro-life president. Amen. Shout out to pro-life. Shout out to pro-life. I am a club advisor for a pro-life club at my campus, and it's just so funny to me how this conversation makes people uncomfortable. Like, golly, we talking about saving lives and that makes you uncomfortable? I'm sorry, what? What's happening here? Trump's 3 nominations of conservative judges to the Supreme Court paved the way for the reversal of Roe versus Wade, which had legalized abortion nationwide for nearly 50 years. Which is great. I'm glad that he reversed it. I'm glad that we are sweeping more decisions to encourage life. You know, what the fuck? Like, why is that weird? Ron DeSantis, he is also in the running for the Republican Party. He officially launched his campaign last year on May 24th. Let's see. DeSantis has framed his campaign around a desire to bring the conservative policies he championed in Florida to the national stage. Now, I appreciate him too. I like that he was very vocal and strong about his LGBTQ issues that were taking place heavily in the Florida public schools. He was adamant about not allowing particular age groups of students to have access in the classroom, in the class curriculum of LGBTQ topics. Like, why are we teaching 8-year-olds about homo sex? Like, what does that have to do with algebra? I mean, algebra, you're not being taught that, but the point is it's inappropriate and it's grooming. So there's that. He said he made a name for himself battling. Well, he has made a name for himself battling with Disney over the entertainment giant's opposition to a bill dubbed by critics as the "Don't Say Gay" law, which is someone dubbed it as, yeah, that's it. He didn't dub it that. It was the critics who dubbed it that. But again, that's the law for banning instruction or classroom discussions of LGBTQ issues in the Florida public schools for all grades. And I am in support of that. Let's see. Nikki Haley, she's the one who talked about, let's talk about her, because she talked about how there's no racism, which, she said, no, not even just no racism, that there was never racism in America. Now, look, I know I talked about being in a state of Delulu for some time in my life, which is why I decided to work a second job. But baby girl, what? Let me make sure. I'm trying to find, where did she say that? Because I heard she was like she was at a town hall. She was at a town hall and she decided to share that. So she's a little off. She looks like she has no soul behind her eyes. So at this point, she's a reptilian. At this point, she is a reptilian. But let's move forward. Who else? Who else is running in the Republican Party? Because, you know, that is where I'm voting. It's like, you know, for a while, I was thinking, you know, RFK. Shout out to I would say JFK. Rest in peace. But for a while, I was thinking RFK. But at this point, I think we're too far gone into technology where there has to be something he could use for his voice. I like his agenda. I like his approach. I like his stance. I like his physical stance. I respect that he is of a. Let me tell y'all, how old is this man? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. age. This man is 70 years old and he looks like he's in his 50s. He looks good for his age. Okay. And to be 70 years old, well, typically it's more likely that older men are with younger women. So I was going to make the point that, oh, and he's with a 58-year-old woman. His wife is 58. I think that's his third wife. But nonetheless, he's with her. But that's just a typical thing. That's just a statistical thing. But yeah, he's 70 years old and he looks good. He works out, he's well in shape, and he takes care of his health. I like that image because it could influence the masses to get on their ass, to really work towards a healthy lifestyle and make sure that they're being mindful of what they consume. So look, I don't know. I wish we could like vote again, right? Where, okay, I voted this time and then I could vote another time. Like maybe like 2 times could be the max. But yeah, it will be either for me, RFK, or somebody else. Y'all know who I'm thinking about. All right, the Democratic primary field, we have Joe Biden, who we haven't seen in a year. I don't know where this man is. Moving on. Marianne Williamson. I forgot that she was still in. Like, see what I'm talking about? I don't know where these people are. Dean Phillips. Who is that? Who is Dean Phillips? My God, today. So, Dean Phillips. Anybody else? Okay, so that's it for the Democratic primary. Independent bids, we have RFK Jr., like I said, Jill Stein. That name sounds familiar. Let's see. Definitely a Jew. Huh. I actually don't know who she is. I've never seen her a day in my life. See, I don't know who she is. Cornel West, shout out to him. And that's it. Now, you may be wondering about a few other people who were running at one point, like Ramaswamy. That nigga's gone. But he is actually supporting who? None other than Donald Trump. So Ramaswamy has stepped down and he said here verbatim that he believes Trump will lead us to victory. Trump says in response that he's going to be working with us for a long time. So it looks like Ramaswamy is joining Trump's campaign and supporting him in his campaign. So that's interesting. Who else dropped out? So we have Tim Scott. I actually liked Tim Scott. I did. You know, many black sleepy ass Democrats always called anyone who is black and a Republican a coon. So instantly they called him a coon. But I enjoyed at least the rhetoric that I've been seeing of him. There is a clip of him on The View that I came across on X, right? And I was so impressed. I was so impressed by how he explained himself and how they were talking about basically how black people in general are more economically not privileged, but like we are more in opportunity with greater economics than we once were. Like we are moving the needle, we are moving forward, basically making the point that we're not this depressed, oppressed, nothing's great, oh my gosh, I'm such a victim type of rhetoric that the Democrats like to push over and over again. And you have Whoopi pushing this narrative. You have Sunny Hostin pushing this narrative. Yet they're obviously successful black women who are on this long-running syndicated talk show on one of the most respected channels on TV, ABC, and yet they're talking about how they're oppressed? What? It's like you can't get your head out your ass. Like, can you talk about how much money you have, how much access you have, how much privilege you have, right? And I know it's not all about the money, right? But it is. Because the money does bring you to places that those who don't have it can't go. So you having the money, you having the access to these doors and these meetings, and you could push this narrative out. You could push that narrative out. You could create this fund for underprivileged children, all because you had the financial backing to do so. And you mean to tell me you're not privileged? You mean to tell me you haven't come a long way? You mean to tell me there hasn't been improvement for your socio-economic ass? Basically, that's what Tim Scott said. And he said it so well, so respectfully. And I was impressed. So it's unfortunate that he is no longer running. I guess he didn't really have much support. Maybe, I don't know. But he, of course, is endorsing Donald Trump. How come he's endorsing Ron DeSantis? I like Ron. Look, I don't know. At this point, make it red instead. That should be the title. That should be the motto for anyone who wants to vote red. You know how there's that motto for blue for Democrats? Vote blue no matter who. Y'all, that's so stupid. No, you should say make it red instead. Make it red instead. Make it red. Make it red instead. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. So shout out to Tim Scott. Shout out to Tim Scott. Hey, Scott. Okay. Let's see. What else should we get into? Diddy decided to turn down his 2024 Grammy invite despite nomination in 20 years, which I find to be interesting. He hasn't been nominated in 20 years? Huh. I feel like that's a lie. He's put out music though in 20, like at some point throughout the 20 years that it's been that they allege he hasn't. Anyway, this is all allegation. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he even got invited, right? And he's just saying this to say, oh, I wasn't gonna go anyway, you know? But he is claiming, or these sources are saying, that he is not attending. And okay. People will be fine, Diddy Combs. People will be fine. It says here, a rep for Combs did not immediately respond to this report, but this has been a talk for quite some time. Let's see, when was last? So he has been nominated, yes, because he did release an album. And I remember listening to that album, and I enjoyed it. Some of the songs were all right. But child, he about to go to jail. We'll see. Anyway, so he is not going, and it is so. All right, you guys, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Thank you for telling a friend to tell a friend. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And I will check in with you all next time. Peace.